So before we look at the next 10 years, a word on the fact that we are starting this decade in a slightly different place as an LLP. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so thanks, Sarah. On the 1st of December, we're converting to an LLP. And the reason behind that is, as we mentioned earlier, when Basketball Drummond started, it was, one-man band. We were expecting to do interim roles. We've now changed that to being a proper IT consultancy. So there's now a team of 5 consultants, with Kevin Gooseman being the first to join me just over 5 years ago, Nigel Stock coming up to 2 years, and Kathy Kirby about a year ago. On the IT side, and we also have Richard Wyatt, who's actually my old boss from Tollers, as the virtual finance director. We're supported by a team of 2 virtual IT managers. Anthony joined us in January last year, and Andrew joined us in the summertime this year. And finally, we have Rena, who acts as our PMO and junior consultant. So the idea of the LLP is to give the consultants ownership in what we do. This isn't the basketball show anymore. I will also always be a key part of the firm, but actually my consultants are my partners. So we are going to act like that. So the 5 founding partners are all shareholders straight down the middle on the LLP. We will then be able to motivate the consultants to bring work in and deliver it. But it gives us all a nice framework to know that, it isn't a one-man band. It's a reflection of where we're going as a business, that all the consultants are bought into the future of the firm. Just on that point, I mentioned Kevin. He's been working with us for 5 years. It's been excellent to work with Kevin. He's retiring at the end of the year, and we wish him all the best in his retirement. And we look forward to having the opportunity to say goodbye to him in decent terms when we get together in the new year.
Okay, so Kevin will miss out on the next 10, but you will all be there for it. So looking at it, how do you think it's going to play out?
So I think Kevin's going to be hard boots to fill, but we know we have the work there for that 4th IT consultant. So we are expecting to have discussions with people about joining us. We see workload going up. We see the size of projects we're taking on going up. So over the last sort of 12 months, we've really increased our size of work that we're doing to reflect the number of consultants we've got, and the opportunities we're talking to firms about also continues to grow in excitement in terms of what we're doing. So I think it's taken a long slog. I think we are seeing as a sort of like a decent IT consultancy that we're sort of like seen in the same light as the leading ones. Our client base, we're very clear on it. We are looking to work with firms between 8 million and sort of like 35 million. That's our sweet spot, what I would call a good traditional regional law firms, if we don't mind using boxes to describe people. We've got a fantastic client base. We've got some very, very challenging clients who make us work extremely hard, but they're great to work with, and they're the sort of firms we want to carry on working with. And given that, and that we don't hardly do any marketing, we write articles, but you don't see us out at events. All of our work comes from word of mouth, and that says everything to me. That it's our clients who introduce us to our next clients, and I think that's probably the bit I'm most proud of. We've not got any projects that we're embarrassed by, that we continue to keep our reputation up, and we're working hard to make sure as we grow that is actually the culture we have. And again, that goes back to why we're setting up the LLP. It's because all of our consultants are owners of the firm. It's straight down the middle. It's 20% ownership for all 5 consultants, and that's a very vested interest for them to make sure the quality stands up. And all these people have got great names in the market, and they want to be associated with a great band working together. So I think that's the future. I think we can see the virtual IT manager role becoming more important. We can see that becoming a real selling point. People need. We're seeing that.
Yes, I was going to ask, actually. I mean, you obviously have a very strong reputation in the market for PMS implementation projects, selection and implementation projects, but will that continue to be to the fore, or do you see that sort of being one of several strings to the bow?
So we never set out to do PMS selection, but the element of PMS that always interested me and I've always enjoyed doing most is actually the implementation. That's where you're actually making a real difference to the firm, and you're going live with a system which will really change the way that people operate. We started actually doing system selection because it's the only way to get the implementation work. Because actually the PMS market is a bit of a dire place. There's been a lot of buyouts recently. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's actually not a lot of innovation. And I think it is one of those areas that if you're not careful, you can just get known for doing PMS, and it is just a bit, it's the same old thing. And we aren't just the same old thing. So, the work that Nigel's doing on the Microsoft Cloud, he is all over that, and he's advising an international law firm on their cloud adoption for Microsoft cloud services. So we've got a lot of those sort of exciting projects. We've got an IT capabilities thing now, which is something that Kathy is really bringing to the fore, where when we're doing assessments, we are really looking across the whole IT delivery and providing terms with a real clear, these are the strengths and weaknesses of your firm, and this is how we can help you address them. So PMS, we were about 50% of our income was around PMS 18 months ago. It's down to about 10% now. And I think we'll always be there. It's always going to be something we do in terms of selection, because firms need help and need structure. When you're buying a system like that, that's what I touched on earlier. You need to be very precise about what you're buying and why and how you're going to implement it. And we can add value, but we're doing it in a way that the selection process isn't just a way of consultants earning money. Our selection process is actually a commoditized, canned process, which is 15 days of effort to get you from not knowing what's in the market to selection. And that is what we do, because actually the value we can add isn't in selection. The value we add is in implementation. And that's where we want to focus our work, because actually that's where we get the long-term relationships with clients. We can add a lot more value. And I think for us, any project, our whole result is to become the retained advisor, and that works really well from a PMS implementation point of view.